Would I be the asshole if I reject my husband's gift? My husband, 28, and I, 27F, have birthdays during the same week. I am big on birthdays, so for my husband's I often go all out. And he also does a great job with my birthday most of the time. I do not expect the same level as I give because I know I do a lot. For my husband's birthday this year I threw a big party for him. People flew in from other states and I got it catered and it was so fun. I also spent a lot of money and time on it. I was planning it for months. I also got him a very nice gift that is something he will definitely use. He showed everyone at the party because it really was perfect lol. So my birthday comes. I wake up and he's golfing. Then he gets home and tells me the plan for my birthday is to go to a bakery and a bookstore. I was starving so we got brunch first. Then we go the bookstore and I left my credit card at work so I had no money and asked if he'd get a book for me for my birthday and he originally said no, but eventually he relented. Then we go to the bakery and I got a coffee and a few treats. It was kind of a serve-yourself type place, and every time I picked up an item he got annoyed about the cost and made a comment. It was not an expensive bakery. The average item cost $2.03 and I got 3 items lol. We also got a slice of cake to share. I went to the bathroom and got back and he had eaten most of the cake. The day was very nice but I was kinda sad about the lack of effort and then the constant complaining about the cost of things. Now is a good time to mention we don't struggle with money in the slightest. So then he mentions my birthday present. I was very clear on what I wanted for my birthday: tickets to my fav artist. And no, not Taylor Swift. I told him like 5 times. You could get very good seats for about $60.70 per person. So he tells me I'll get my gift on Friday and it's an event and he wants to keep it a surprise. And Friday is the day of the concert so I got super excited expecting tickets. Well, long story short, I find out my gift is attending a baseball game. I was immediately annoyed because I hate baseball. Sorry baseball fans. Everyone knows I hate baseball. And he also hates it. I would rather just not get a gift at all than pretend to enjoy sitting through a whole baseball game. So WITBA if I told him I don't want my gift. Update. I was not going to post an update, but my original post got a lot more comments than I anticipated so I am. First, a clarification: my husband did not tell me the gift was a baseball game. He keeps a list of reminders and when I was cleaning I saw a reminder that said, "My name's birthday gift, get tickets, baseball game." So I had assumed it was a baseball game. Also, another thing I want to add is I absolutely love surprises. Which is the reason everything surrounding my birthday was so hush-hush because my husband knows I love the anticipation. Anyways, so he brings it up tonight and I finally ask if he will just tell me what the surprise is. And it was not a baseball game lol. It's an adventurous activity type gift that I have been wanting to do for forever. I'm being purposefully vague because this is a throwaway. Think skydiving or bungee jumping. It also comes with dinner at my favorite restaurant. It's a very expensive date evening for us, as it'll cost over $1,000. And as much as I wanted to go to the concert, this tops it by 100. The reason the reminder mentioned baseball is because the activity doesn't run when there is a game. I also brought up my actual birthday, and he apologized for it. He told me he was so focused on planning the surprise and was treating that as my birthday celebration that he didn't realize that I wanted him to plan something for my actual birthday and scrambled and just picked out some of my favorite things to do. He also apologized for being very cost-focused and explained that he was concerned because of the cost of the real gift. We don't struggle with money but we do have a budget we both make together and follow, and we also set limits for how much we spend on gifts and holidays. I'm sure a lot of people will still call him horrible and selfish, but it really was a bad case of him trying to plan a fun surprise for me and keeping it a surprise because he knows that's what I'd want and me making assumptions and not communicating, and him not communicating because of the surprise. Very middle school sitcom. Not the asshole. Is he trying to break up with you? Playing golf, which takes the whole morning. Annoyed at spending money on you, on your birthday, especially bad. I don't care if it was also his birthday nearby. Lackluster events for the day. Ate almost all of the cake. Tickets to an event neither of you like. This is like, purposefully mean. Not the asshole. He didn't want to buy you a book or some pastries. Even if it wasn't your birthday, that's shit behavior on his part. It seems like he's not that into you. Not the asshole, but seriously, why are you married to someone who treats you this way? Not the asshole. This is the sort of thing that would have me rethinking my marriage. That being said, I think you need to sit down, alone, and do some thinking about the amount of effort you put in, and the lack of return on emotional investment. If he is not going to put in effort, then start putting that energy towards yourself. He cannot have it both ways. I am not a big birthday person. I make my own plans, I buy my own gifts, and if someone gets me something, yay. But I am never going to disappoint myself. I honestly divorce someone for this kind of behavior, because I am not going to spend my life living with someone who cannot buy me a $20 book and a pastry on my birthday. Not the asshole, and it sounds like he was purposely pissing you off. Am I the asshole? 18M, for pocketing the money my relatives gave me instead of giving it to my mom. 40F. Throwaway account because some of my family is on Reddit. So recently, my relatives visited to celebrate both my graduation and my birthday. To cut to the point, usually, when they come visit, they give some money to me and my siblings. However, inevitably the money goes to my mom. Every time we've been given birthday money or Eid money to celebrate Eid, a Muslim holiday, my mother pockets the money. This has caused some resentment, but we never really questioned it besides expressing general frustration. Recently, my family visited again to celebrate my graduation. One of my aunts gave me money my mom saw, and so she took it. Another aunt gave me money and told me to buy a couple pants and shirts for myself, and not to tell my mom. So I didn't. I pocketed away the money for myself, and deposited half of it in my savings and half in my checking account. To be frank, the total of this money was around $500. This has been the only time I have ever taken the money my relatives have given to me for myself, rather than giving it to my mom. I figured since they gave it to me as a gift, I might as well use it for college, especially as I am low income, will be going no contact with some of my family, and it will really help me out. The money in my savings account can now be used to cover my testosterone over the next 2 months. My mom asked me if said aunt gave me money. I lied and said no. I know it wasn't the best idea to lie, but my mother has a tendency of freaking out, and I have already been kicked out due to being trans. In fact, this argument happened the day after I came home from being kicked out. She then called up said relative, who told her about the gift money. Long story short, she basically called me an asshole, said I should have told her about the money, that she usually uses the gift money to give our own cousins gift money, and that I would need to repay the $500 out of my next paycheck. I argued that before now, every single penny our relatives gave to my siblings and I had gone to her, and that now that I am going to college, this money could really help me out. Plus, it was a gift given to me, which meant I had no obligation to give it to her. Heck, my cousin even told me not to. Despite this, she told me that I should have been more responsible and that I'm an asshole for not giving the money to her. She then shifted the conversation into how she uses the money to pay the bills and how it would really help with car insurance, which I would perhaps be more empathetic about, if she didn't already take the money that my other cousin had given to me. Am I the asshole? Update. I have told her I am not giving up money out of my paycheck to make up for the $500. She was very upset and the argument just went in circles. She insisted if not $500, then at least $200, but I held tight to my decision. Half the money my aunt gave will go towards paying for my tea prescription over the next several months, while the other half will go towards buying college materials. My mom fully and entirely believes the money is hers. There is no convincing otherwise, and any mention of it escalates into outraged yelling. I wish she cared more about me than the money. I mentioned going non-contact with several family members earlier. My mother is one of the people I will be going NC with. I made this decision even before the argument. College is in a month and a half and I know I will be deeply lonely without a family to support me, but I also know I would be happier alone and free than with a parent who doesn't accept me for who I am. Several commenters mentioned suing. I don't intend to sue my mother for this argument or for the money she stole in the past. Suing isn't entirely off the board, but it would be for other things she has done that I am still in denial about. Thank you all for your kind words and words of advice. It is a bit overwhelming to get more support from strangers on the internet than my own family, but I am grateful for it nonetheless. And #X200B. Not the asshole. Your mother legally has no right whatsoever to be taking money that is given to you. It is theft. Not the asshole. If your relatives wanted to give the money to your mom, they would have. Not the asshole. I understand that this could be a cultural thing, but I've noticed that it stops after a certain age. You're going off to college and will be supporting yourself, which means there could possibly be unexpected expenses plus your hormones. It doesn't seem like you'd be spending your money mindlessly, so definitely not the asshole. I sympathize with your mother on other aspects such as the bills and insurance, but other than you also have your life to live. Not the asshole. This is so wrong, please keep the money. You are not the asshole at all. It sounds like your mother is using you. Save what you can and run. Am I the asshole for screaming at both of my parents for refusing to help with my little sister's medical bill? I, 23F, have a little sister Kenna, 19F, who has sciatica. For the last year or so anytime I see her she's limping and just obviously in a lot of pain. It is heartbreaking. Kenna is currently a rising sophomore in college on a full ride, so far she hasn't had to take out loans. She is back in our hometown living with my mom for the summer. A few months ago, after doing a few other things for her sciatica that did not help, she decided to do this new experimental treatment, surgery to try to help the pain. She is on my mom's insurance, which isn't the best. Parents are divorced. Insurance agreed to cover the surgery, but for some reason they would not cover the consultation, initial fee for seeing this specialist doctor. The fee was $450. She, a college student working a serving job for the summer, doesn't have $450. She asked both of my parents for help and both of them told her that the other parent should have to pay for it. When neither of them would, they both ultimately told her that she was on the hook for it herself and that she needed to get a credit card to pay for it. I sort of understand my mom's perspective because she doesn't make a ton of money, but also I know that she definitely has $450 to spare. Last week she took me and all of my siblings out to a steakhouse and the bill was $250 and she had no problem paying that. It was not some special occasion either. She goes out to bars with her friends every weekend too. My dad refused to help her despite the fact that less than 2 months ago he got a full set of veneers. He gets cosmetic surgery done regularly. He makes a lot more than my mom as well, like well over $100,000 a year. When my sister called me crying saying that she had no idea how she would come up with the money, I called both of them and yelled at them for how selfish they were being. I called them hypocrites, and told them that they were pathetic and they shouldn't be surprised when they get old and we don't want to take care of them. I was admittedly name-calling and being very harsh. Both of them always talk about how horrible that it is that my sister is always in pain and how they feel so bad for her, but when it comes down to it neither of them are willing to spare anything to help her. Am I in the wrong for yelling at them and calling them selfish, and also for thinking that my sister is entitled to $450? Edit. Thank you everyone for the kind words and advice, it has been really helpful. For those of you saying we should go no contact with them. No. I love my parents unconditionally, regardless of their, in my opinion, poor choices and blatant disregard for my sister's feelings. That's not to say that their behavior wasn't disgusting and awful, but this is an example of people demonstrating shitty and disappointing behavior, not an example of them being shitty people as a whole. Maybe that's me subconsciously trying to protect myself from the reality of all of this, but these people raised me and made me the woman I am today, and one fuck up on their part, albeit it major, is not going to make me or us throw away an entire relationship. Not the asshole. They are your parents and they are being selfish and greedy. I'm so sad for your sister. I hope you and she can pull some funds together and that it will be successful. Good on you for supporting your sis, they certainly won't. Not the asshole. Your parents are incredibly selfish and needed to hear it. I sincerely don't understand why any parent wouldn't do anything in their power to relieve their child's pain, regardless of their age, to the best of their ability. Your parents are more concerned with sticking it to their ex-spouse at the literal expense of their child. Not the asshole, and she has a full ride to college so she's saving so much money on tuition for her parents. You are a great sister. Not the asshole, and you are not wrong in this. I suggest you get in touch with relatives and friends to help loan out some money to fund the $450 for her. Or if you can help pay for her, you can do that. Sciatica is serious. It could just be the accountant in me, or the fact that my oldest is 20 and in college, but in addition to all the excellent point already made, it's safe to assume that one of your parents also claims her as a dependent, meaning they support her. Not the asshole. And it shouldn't be her problem to go between. They made her, they can deal with each other. Period. Parenting doesn't automatically stop at 18 FFS. Am I the asshole for asking my cousin to leave food for me? Background. I, 21F, am renting an apartment with my cousin, Jacob, 19M. Jacob is living with me while we go to college since his parents agreed to pay his half of the rent if we lived together. On top of paying for his rent and him working part-time, Jacob receives a weekly allowance from his mom to help him pay for groceries. I don't have the same luxury as I am paying for everything on my own. We have an agreement living together that, unless we plan our meals together, we are responsible for our own food. Essentially, he buys his own food and I buy my own, and we don't really share unless asking first. This system worked well for us, especially given our different financial situations and different dietary preferences, appetite levels. Jacob has a larger appetite than me, so he usually gets more than I do when we go shopping. This has become a problem recently as Jacob started running out of food and would start stealing mine instead. At first it was small things like bags of chips or fruit, so I didn't really comment on it, but then it started getting out of hand. I would go shopping for things like bread or cereal only for them to be completely gone 2 days later without me even getting any. I confronted Jacob about this once before, and he simply shrugged it off and said he hadn't had a chance to go to the store yet. This morning I finally had enough. I had gone shopping over the weekend and already my chips, oatmeal, cereal, and iced tea were either completely gone or nearly empty. I had barely even opened them and already I was almost out. Jacob came into the kitchen while I was trying to make myself breakfast and immediately reached for my box of cereal, emptying the rest of it out. I groaned at this and asked him to please leave some of my food for me. When he asked what I meant, I proceeded to list off everything of mine he stole and begged him to get his own food instead of always stealing mine because he eats it all before I get a chance and I couldn't afford to keep feeding both of us. Jacob seemed to get offended by this and asked if I was insulting his eating habits, which was obviously not the case. I tried explaining that I simply couldn't afford to keep paying for food I didn't even get to eat and reminded him that he had the funds to buy whatever he wanted. There was no reason I could think of for him to take mine instead of buying what he wanted. Jacob got pretty snappy after I said that and once again accused me of judging his habits. He went off about how he was an adult and was allowed to do whatever he wanted in his own home and he didn't need me policing him. He would do what he wanted with his money and he could eat whatever he wanted without me making him feel bad about it. Honestly, his outburst confused me because I don't think I was judging him. I just wanted to be able to enjoy the food that I bought for myself. Am I the asshole for asking him to leave my food for me? Not the asshole. For non-perishables, I'd get a tote or shelf to put in my room and keep my bedroom door locked. Or call his parents after totaling up the cost of the foods he ate and ask them to reimburse you. Explain that you cannot afford to feed both of y'all and soon, you won't be able to feed yourself. While he can eat what he wants, he cannot eat your food. He's got a good deal. His parents pay his rent. His parents give him an allowance for food. And then he eats your food so he gets to keep his food allowance. Don't lock your food away. Yell bloody murder at him for eating your food and stealing your money. Tell him the deal's off and he needs to buy his own damn food, replace all the food he stole or move out immediately. Tell his parents too. They might actually pay you back. And let me guess, he doesn't do his share of the housework either, does he? His reactions show he's not yet an adult. If he wants to act like a child, then you need to call his mother and ask her to teach her son how to act respectfully. Not the asshole. He's being an entitled shit. Time to get some cupboard locks. Not the asshole by a long shot. Call his parents and have them reimburse you for the food he's eaten. When you shop again, place all your dry goods in a cabinet with a lock in your room. For stuff that needs to be in the fridge, I think there are plastic containers with locks you can order off of Amazon. That should keep him away from your food.